Hi, I'm Kate Holmes, Executive Director of the Women's Center of Halton, and today we are joined by Barb from CDN Technologies, who's going to be talking about online holiday safety shopping. So very timely as we're entering into the busiest shopping season. So Barb, over to you. Thanks for joining us today.
Oh, thank you for having me, Kate. This is wonderful. I love doing these webinars with you. We always have such a great turnout and everyone that's so interested in this. Thank you very much, because there is no place like home when shopping for the holidays. So thank you everyone for watching. I promise that what I'm going to share with you today is an extremely important topic that we all must address. So I'm going to urge you to pay attention. I promise to be entertaining and try not to scare you too much, because I know some of the things that I share are a little bit shocking. But the good news is once you know what the threats are, you'll be able to better protect yourself against them. So briefly, what we're going to talk about is, let me see here. I can't move my slide forward. I have lost. Oh, there we go. Oops. What we're going to talk about is sneaky emails that are used to steal your identity. And if you get one, just delete it right away. We're going to talk about top ploys used by online identity thieves to gain access to your personal information. We're going to talk about new scams. And you know what? Because there's so many that are out there these days because of the pandemic, new scams have more than quadrupled. And we're going to talk about best practices to prevent you from accidentally clicking on something and giving away all of your personal information to internet criminals. Because at the end of the day, everyone here, we've all worked too hard and we want to avoid being a sitting duck to online scammers. So at the end, or now, you can go to cdntechnologies.com/IT scams. We have a free gift for you. You can get a copy of my book, IT Scams, How to Avoid Being Ripped Off. This is the same book that I've shared with all the sharks, Kevin O'Leary, Barbara, Damon John, oops, made that a mistake, and a whole bunch of other celebs. Hazel McCallion has read it, so I'm happy about that as well. And the Dirty Jobs Guide, Mike Rowe, quite happy about that. Before I get in, let me tell you a little bit about my company. 2022, it marks 20 years that I've been at the helm of CDN Technologies. So CDN Technologies is a managed service provider. We become the IT department for small and medium-sized businesses that do not have any internal IT resources. Our product is making computer networks run well, securing them, really anything that has to do with technology across the whole entire stack, from servers, whether they're on-premise or in the cloud, line of business applications, copiers, phones, the whole technology caboodle. And what happens is a lot of companies hire outsourced IT departments, managed service providers, because it's a great way to get a whole team to assist them with their technology, because technology is really vast. You get all of the security tools and the applications, and you don't have the costs associated with it as well, because you still have to buy antivirus and things like that when you go out on your own. We're 24/7, 365. We're located in Oakville, and CDN Technologies has been doing IT since 1989, but I've been here since 2002, and 2022 is going to mark like 20 years. I'm kind of like happy, and then I think about, oh my God, like where did time flies when you're working all the time, or when you're having fun.
You were just a baby when you started this, I'm sure.
Yes, yes, I was, and I'm very happy for Miss Clairol as well, because she's helped me a lot these last few years.
A pandemic will do that to you.
Yeah, I keep thinking of my mother's advice: don't pluck it, because then 10 more will grow, and I think she was right.
Mothers are always right.
They are. So with that in mind, the biggest problem in IT is out of sight, out of mind. And the biggest danger is complacency. There's this quote by Andrew Grove. He's the former CEO of Intel, and I like it because it was success breeds complacency, complacency breeds failure, and only the paranoid survive. So success in the context of today's discussion is maybe you might not have experienced getting scammed or ripped off, or if you have been, it wasn't a lot. So therefore, because you didn't incur a lot of damages, and it didn't cost a lot of money, maybe you've become complacent about what you click. And that ends up being a little bit of a problem, because please don't underestimate the importance of staying cyber safe and being mindful of what it is that you click on. Because at the end of the day, it's all about what you click, despite all of the security measures that you have in place. And cybercrime, it's a business. It's huge, huge, huge. And cybercrime rings have become very sophisticated. They're very well funded, and they're very well organized. Unlike any other business, they don't have to follow the rules. They don't have any compliance requirements. They don't have to pay taxes. They can do whatever it is that they want. And it's not like cybercrime is a new thing. It's been happening for a very long time. It's a very old profession. In the olden days, the cybercrime business was pretty simple. You bought a gun or a knife, you hid it in a dark alley, and when someone would walk by, you'd jump out and you'd say, stick them up. Startup costs are low, overhead is low. And if you didn't get caught, you'd do all right. But then, you know what, just like any other business owner, just like any other entrepreneur or someone that has a side hustle, they think, how can I grow my business? And technology always answers that question. Trains came along, and robbing a train was far more lucrative of a catch than robbing an individual, because now you could rob 200 to 300 people at a time. And these trains, they were crossing these remote areas where there weren't any organized police forces. And if you had a lot of money and you were on a train, you were sitting with a whole bunch of other people that had a lot of money on a train. So it's very convenient to do a one-to-many crime in one location. And thanks to the advancements in technology and the ever-increasing trend of us storing financial and personal information on third-party cloud platforms, the new train robberies, they're cybercrime related, because we do everything online. And if you think about it, if you wanted to rob 100,000 people at once, you couldn't do it the old-fashioned way. But today, all you need to do is to hack into a single large platform and use advanced technology that's readily available to instantly rob millions. And it's happening all the time. It's not a new thing. Back in 2014, 7 years ago, JP Morgan, 80 million people got hacked. They lost all of their credit card information. You got to remember that these hackers, they're working 24/7, 365 to hack your system, steal your data, corrupt your organization, and rob you blind. And 7 years later, we're still seeing these types of attacks. So when they happen and they make the news, you know what? You have to understand that all of the data that they gather gets sold on the dark web. So this slide indicates how much your credit card details sell for, like, at $2 to $90. So if you think about that, at 80 million people, multiply that by, let's just say the low scale, $2. That's a lot of money. And if these big organizations that have security systems in place, that have IT departments to keep everybody who's working there safe, if they're getting hacked and breached and having their money stolen, then taking money from you is a cakewalk. Okay. So with that in mind, after their information gets sold on the dark web, cyber criminals use that data and use that information to commit fraud. They'll open new credit cards in your name. They'll take out loans in your name, bank fraud, mortgage fraud, mail fraud. Once they have all of that information, they can steal your tax return. They can file a return in your name. They can create highly targeted phishing scams to access your bank account, your email account, your computers, in the hope that they get you to click on something. And they also use it to blackmail you. Like, I'm not the morality police here, but essentially, what if it happens to someone that you know and the information that they share? It happens all the time. So don't think that, you know what, that no one would be interested in hacking you or anything like that, or targeting you, because you have to remember that these are just software programs that are designed to find out vulnerabilities on the internet. And the truth of the matter is that 1 in 30 people fall victim to identity theft each year. And that number is growing. And 20% of identity theft occurs online. And scammers have a 1 in 700 chance of getting caught. So it's the wild west for someone who is on the wrong side of the law. They can make a lot of money really fast as long as they don't get caught. And cyber attacks happen all the time. And you might not hear about the small ones, like you only hear about the big ones, like the big accidents, you hear about that, but you don't hear about the parking lot door dings and things like that. But if you pay attention and you're listening to the radio, you'll hear that there are a lot of advertisements for buying cryptocurrencies and setting up your account. You can get Bitcoin very quickly. Why are they doing that? Why is the local Rabba, if you're outside the GTA, or the Avondale if you're in Niagara, or the Big Bear if you're in the Hamilton region, why are they advertising that they have these Bitcoin ATMs available now? Why are you seeing flags at the gas station, buy Bitcoin here? It's because it's providing a solution to a problem that nobody wants to talk about. Because essentially, if you get ransomware or if something happens, you're going to want to buy cryptocurrency really fast. Okay. And it's not like the bank machine at the mall has it, but you know, maybe in a month or two, it will. So another reason why you don't hear about these attacks is it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to admit that you clicked on something so stupid, because hindsight's always 2020. And then you realize, like, oh, I can't believe I clicked on that, or oh, I can't believe I shared that information. And lots of times, you know what? People don't even know that their email is being spoofed. If you think about mail fraud, anybody can put your return address on an envelope and you would never know. Okay. The same thing happens with emails. Like, you know, lots of times people don't know that their email is being spoofed. And if you accidentally exposed other people's information, it's a little bit embarrassing to admit and say, hey, you know what, I gave out your information without your permission. Because normally people ask beforehand, like, you know, do you mind if I share your email address? Do you mind if I share your phone number? But when you've done it like willy-nilly, it's kind of a faux pas. So sometimes people don't even share that it's happened to them. So lots of times people get phished, and phishing is when online scammers send you messages, or you have a pop-up and it tries to lure you to give sensitive information over the internet. You got to remember that cyber criminals, they got a lot of money. So they can hire copywriters, they can hire graphic artists, they can like spoof images and make things look legit. So you really have to be mindful when you're entering information into the portals, because it means that you're handing off your usernames, your passwords to an evildoer who can now use it to access your other accounts if you haven't been cyber hygienic. Another thing that happens when you're shopping online, which is new, and this happens a lot, you'll see it in like your Facebook feed or your Instagram feed. It's called malvertising. And this is a type of phishing that uses digital software to publish like normal looking ads. But what happens is they have malicious code implanted within it. So all you have to do is click on an ad. Like, let's just say it's from, like, you know, the Best Yoga Store or Bella Barnett, and their ads are being spoofed. Then essentially, all of a sudden, you've just given what's happening on the front end, what's happening on the back end is different. And now someone can access your computer with spyware because you accidentally installed it and you didn't know. So People get phished all the time because there are so many fake e-commerce sites and even merchant processor sites that collect your information after you followed through with a fake purchase. So you really have to be mindful of pop-ups and advertisements in your social media feed and on websites, especially on your phone, because essentially everything is so small. And let's just say you're in your, I don't know, your mid 30s to your mid 40s, and your eyes are beginning to go, you're doing like this, sometimes you can't see things, and all of the URLs are shortened. You really have to be mindful of what it is that you click on, because there are so many knockoff websites that lure you to enter in your credit card information, lure you to enter in your passwords, like, oh, all of a sudden you get this pop-up that says your email password is about to expire in 2-3 days. Please click here. You know what? You should never click on pop-ups. Never enter any type of information into a pop-up, especially like a username, a password, or anything in regards to your personal identity.
I got caught one year buying four knockoff Michael Kors purses because
Oh,
it was a social media ad. They were a great deal, and they came smelling like fish, and I got caught. And so again, it wasn't about necessarily taking my credit card information, but it was a pop-up ad, stressed about the holidays, took care of 4 gifts all in one swoop, and should have been smarter. And so we get caught, and it was embarrassing to talk about.
yeah, it's because it's nice because you're shopping from home for the holidays. It's the most wonderful time of the year. You're happy that you do it. It's very luxurious. It comes to your house. You know what? You can add the gift wrap to it so it looks very nice to present. And essentially, it could never come. It could never, ever come. But
Yes.
maybe, you'll get an email that tells you that, hey, we're coming. Oh, click here if you want to upgrade your delivery, or, oh, sorry, it's not available. And like, you're waiting and you're waiting. And as you're waiting, you're giving more information, where if you think about it, if you were at the register at Michael Kors, and if they gave you a purse or something like that, and it smelled like fish, you'd be able to say, like, like this is a knockoff. You can't do it. Like, you can acknowledge it right away. Or if they say, oh, hold on a second here, like, just a moment, please. Oh, you know what? While she's getting that in the back, you want to buy this, you want to buy that, oh, this will look at and all of the suggestive cells. Chances are you might be getting a little bit irritated, and you're going to say no. Or if the tally comes up and, like, you've blown your budget because of all of the accessories that are added, you're like, oh, how did this happen? And you can start sending it back. But when you do it online, like, it's like out of sight, out of mind. You have to be careful.
Very
And
careful.
yes. And then there's the sneaky emails and texts. Okay, so this gets a little bit crazy. So be aware of things that say exclusive offers, sales, limited editions, urgent. So any type of email that is forcing you to move quickly, like, don't click. Or if it's threatening you, act now or you're going to lose this, like, don't click on that. Detailed sales pitches, like, don't click on that either, because they're trying, like, really, really, really hard. Links to informational websites. So if you get an email, let's just say you get an email, I'm going to pick on Michael Kors, which I love their shoes, by the way, they fit me perfectly. So essentially, if I get an email and it says, like, buy now, 25% off, or so on and so forth, I never click on any of the links in the email, but I will type in michaelkors.ca and take it from there, because you never, when you're in a hurry, sometimes, or if you're on your phone, sometimes you can't see what the link is that you're clicking on, because it could say one thing but be another behind the scenes. So you want to be very mindful of that. Like, they're very, very sneaky. Like, they have a lot of money. They invest in copywriting. They're very technical, and it's easy to do. If someone is asking for credit card information to pay for shipping on a free gift, be mindful of that, because free is free. Like, I'm giving out my book. You're not going to have to pay for shipping on that. I'm gathering information. I'm gathering, I'm asking for permission if I can email you, but essentially free is free. So giving credit card information for a free gift, you got to be wary about that. The other thing you need to watch for is that if they ask you to confirm or log in or update your information out of the blue. So if all of a sudden you get an email from someone that like, a vendor that you're interacting with, and they send you an email out of the blue and ask you to log in, confirm your information or update your information, don't click on that stuff. Like, not at all. If you get any type of email that says we're unable to deliver, like, this is FedEx, this is UPS, this is DHL, this is Amazon, we tried, and things like that, don't click on any of the links, because when they are legit, the email, everything will be in the email itself. It'll be written out. You're not going to have to open a document or open an invoice or open a receipt. And all of those websites, the FedEx, the UPS, the Amazon.com, the .ca, the DHL, Canada Post, they are the most spoofed websites at this type of year, because everyone is sending packages. So, you have to be mindful of that. Please share your feedback surveys. Like, be careful of that, because chances are, the information that they ask, it might be a piece of a puzzle. It might seem irrelevant to you. Like, what's the best time to deliver? Like, they're gathering information of when you're going to be home, when you're not going to be home, so to say. This next one, this is new. This is happening a lot. And let's talk this out for a little bit. The combination of a text and an email plus the phone call follow-up. If I've just sent you a text, I got your number. If you don't respond and I want you to, what am I going to do? I'm going to call to follow up. See, I already have the number. Hey, I call, hey, this is so-and-so from whatever. Did you get my text? Can you click on the link? Like, all of a sudden, just like, oh yeah, I got it. So you really need to be mindful of that, because the cyber criminals, like, it's hacking is legit in other parts of the world. So they have call centers all over the place. They've been trained to speak English very well. You really need to be mindful, because it's always like a 1-2 type of punch. They'll send an email and they'll call to follow up, or they'll send a text and they'll call to follow up.
The example of continuing to evolve.
Yes.
Another example of that. And, it's funny, I just had a text this morning that said, please put your information here for an e-transfer.
Yes.
And I didn't click on that, but I know exactly what they were looking for. They were looking for, put your bank account information here, where do you bank, et cetera, et cetera. And then they would have had full access to my bank account.
That's exactly it. You need to like click delete on that, but you need to be mindful too, because you don't want to accidentally fat finger it and move the process forward, because you don't want to show an active user. And in addition to that, when you get those stupid robocalls like, hello, we are called, this is Visa calling to verify a transaction of $432.20 on Amazon. Please click 1, to speak with a representative if you do not recognize. Like, when you get those weird calls, hit block incoming number. Like, like, you might get a few of them eventually, like, they'll put her out, but you have to block that stuff, because what happens if you accidentally, like, if you're in a low tone, like, you're just like, or you're tired, like, there's so much stuff happening at this time of the year. It's a very emotionally engaging time of year. You want to make sure you don't accidentally click on something you're not supposed to. So speaking of which, click to verify suspicious transactions. Like, what, we got to, did you just charge, this is American Express, did you just charge, like, $29 at Walmart and Utah, things like that, click here. You need to be mindful of that. The same thing is like, all of a sudden, we're from Consumers Gas. Thank you for being a customer for a long time. We're sending you a gift card for $25. Like, you really need to be mindful as to emails that you receive when people send you items that you never asked for. Like, yes, it's nice to get and things like that. We all enjoy prizes and things like that. But digital media is so easily used to trick people into clicking on things. And that's how long it takes for someone to hack your system, steal your data, corrupt your organization, and rob you blind. It's just a click. Okay, so what are some warning signs? Like, when you are shopping online, the links in the back button are disabled or they're broken, they're not working. The website displays no contact information. Like, there's no phone, there's no address. It just has an email, and maybe you get an autoresponder out of when you test it out. The return policies or the privacy policies, they're unclear or they're unstated. Item prices are incredibly low, like too good to be true. Like, you are never going to be able to buy a Louis Vuitton purse for $49.99. Like, that's never going to happen. You're never going to get Prada sunglasses for like $9.99. You're never going to get Michael Kors for like $2.99 with this discounted offer because we're having a clearance sale. Like, things like that are never going to happen. Shippings, duties, and extra charges seems to be abnormal. They're either going to be super duper high or they're going to be non-existent. Like, if it's off, it's off. And usually when you order something, like, let's just say that you order from michaelkors.com and you're going to be receiving it, or from Spanx or something like that, they'll let you know that there's shipping and duties and a ballpark of how much it's going to be. But if it gets to be like something big or something like, non-existent, then chances are you're getting spoofed.
And
So how do
also
you,
spelling errors. If you
oh,
see spelling errors, that should also be another red flag too.
yes. I was reading an article about AI, actually, and followed up by a presentation. And essentially, what's keeping us safe right now, and it's soon going to change when we go to the spelling errors, is cultural dialogue and linguistics and how we speak. Okay. There are some things, I'm going to say, picking up what you're putting down. You're going to know what it is that I'm talking about. The shoes on the wrong foot, like, like little idiosyncrasies, like little things that we use, like, here in North America, they're not necessarily going to be used in Europe or Australia. Like, in Australia, a piss up is like, like a keg party and things like that. So essentially, it's these cultural things that are keeping us safe right now from with artificial intelligence and all these robocalls and scam callers and emails with some misspellings and things like that. So you really need to be thankful and also mindful. But that's soon all changing because people are getting educated, and that's something that you can learn. Like, and people can adapt and evolve. So you really need to be mindful of that. So how do you protect yourself? Okay, shop with reputable dealers. Like, shop directly with online retailers that you know and trust. Bookmark your favorite shopping site to go there quickly and directly. If you're using a password manager and things like that, you can save it like directly right away, or bookmark it, like, by adding it to your toolbar. Don't save the passwords though to log in and out. But then this way you don't have to worry about fat fingering typos that could lead you to a fake or spoofed site. And the other thing is, be cautious when you're browsing on your phone. Like, these are small and the links are shortened. The other thing that you want to do is vet new to you businesses. Like, so yes, look for online reviews, and yes, check the contact page, but call them. Like, recently, I was at a trade show and I got vested up, and I was looking for a cyber security patch to wear on my vest. And I was so upset with all the places that I called, and they just said, we're out of business, or the number doesn't exist. But mind you, they came up on what they were still running Google ads, like, and I clicked on it there. So the best thing to do is to call them, see if a live person answers the phone, and see if they're still in business and providing a service. Beware of amazing deals. Okay. This is like a biggie that's happening, especially at this time of year. Facebook or Instagram ads that are offering rock bottom prices or eye popping prices or free stuff. Don't click on that, because remember, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. So you should really compare prices before you buy. And usually low prices could be like a red flag that you've encountered a spoofed site that's been set up to snag your personal information or to steal money for you. Don't browse on public Wi-Fi. Shopping online often requires for you to give your credit card number, first name, last name, and address. And Wi-Fi is very easily spoofed, so it gives an ID an ID thiever, an ID scammer, all of the information that they need to duplicate you. Pick strong passwords. Lots of times when you buy from new places, they'll want you to create an account. So use a passphrase or a complex set of upper and lowercase numbers and symbols. Ideally, use a password manager so that this way it can generate a password that's like 10, 12, 22 characters in length, and it just automatically types it in when you go to the right site. Avoid dictionary words, names, birthdays, sports teams. Never reuse passwords. Like, that's a biggie. Hackers are hoping that you do this because it makes their job a hell of a lot easier. Look for the S icon and look for the lock icon to verify that the site you're on offers encryption, so that when you enter in your credit card information, that it's not being stored. So you want to look for that HTTPS : / in front of the www when you're shopping around, rather than just the HTTP. Unsolicited or incredible offers, problems with the Pagic delivery, and don't open attachments or links in messages. Like, people will say that your invoice is here, your refunds are here, the tracking number is here. Don't click on those. And I know it's so hard to do at this time of the year, but this is a scam that's easily executed because it works. And the only way that it's going to not work is if you don't click. So be careful of that. You really have to guard your personal information. No shopping website will ever ask for your social insurance number. And since we're not shopping right now, it makes common sense, but people get socially engineered all the time. And even sometimes as they're replaying in their mind, how did that call go? Or I should have given a heads up when they asked for my social insurance number, and then they said, "Oh, sorry, I didn't need it." Like, that it was a fraud. You really need to be mindful and to stay on top of it, because you got to be your own hero. Okay. Even when something else happens, at the end of the day, you got to be your own hero, and you got to keep your personal information safe. And if you're a mom, you have to do it for your kids until, I don't know how old, probably until they retire at 65. Okay. Pay with credit, not debit. Okay. Pay with credit cards and not debit cards, because debit cards are the number one way your bank account gets compromised. When you are doing online banking at home, don't use that computer for shopping. Don't use it for email. Don't use the computer that you use for online banking for anything else. Nothing. Set up email and text alerts whenever a withdrawal over a chargeback, or sorry, I don't want to say chargeback. What am I the word that I'm looking for here? A refund, it happens to your credit card, or a charge happens to your credit card. Just get an email alert, because then you can know, this is out of town, or no, I did not buy that at Holt Renfrew. I wish I did, but I never did. You want to get an email text alert, so that this way you can stop fraudulent activity before you actually get the call. With your bank account, you want to make sure that you're have a signature for wire transfers, maybe even two. And the other thing is if you don't have a credit card and you are using a debit card, separate your checkings and your savings. Like, I only have a little bit of money in. So in the event if something were to happen, that they don't have access to all of your savings and everything like that. So have your money spread out in multiple accounts to minimize the risk. Because the bottom line is you need to get serious about protecting yourself against cybercrime. Vendors and stores have their own issues that they have to deal with fraud. They hate cybercrime as much as you do, but essentially you don't want to have all of a sudden your credit cards maxed and you're like stuck at the gas station, because that does happen. So best practices for protecting yourself. Enable 2FA on everything. So on your email accounts, on your son's PlayStation, like, enable email 2FA on everything. And when you're shopping and you're using your credit cards, check your statements frequently. Like, let's just say that your monthly credit card bill is $500 and it's routinely $500, and it's going to be $500, but look at the statement, because maybe someone is skimming off your credit card and you don't even know. Maybe they're charging like, $24.99 here or $19.97 there. If you don't know what a transaction is, highlight and call and have it reversed. When you're shopping online, use a bank issued credit card, because this way you have some protection against fraudulent transactions. When you use a pay as you go card, it's really hard to get that money back. So you need to be mindful of that. That's a best practice for you. Back up your device to prevent loss. So let's just say that you are shopping online and something happens, you get a virus, you get ransomware, and all of a sudden your computer is locked. All your pictures are gone, all of your emails are gone, everything is gone. You want to make sure that you have everything backed up. So back up your devices, okay? And the other thing is make sure your antivirus is enabled or active, because you have to remember that some of the scams that are out there, you're used as a cog for a bigger scam. So you want to make sure that your antivirus is enabled, and that might be your only line of defense from preventing someone from getting into your systems without permission. So lots of people have their antivirus when they first bought their computer, but that only came with like 90 days, and now it's been 3 years, and you have never updated your antivirus subscription. So there hasn't been any patches or updates. So you want to make sure that your antivirus is enabled, it's on, and it's active, because otherwise you don't have any virus. Okay, so we're approaching the end. You know what? If you want your free book to regift for the holiday season, go to cdntechnologies.com/IT scams. Two things you need to know though. You don't have to buy anything, okay? I'm not going to be sending out information or have a mass mailing distribution list or anything like that, but I'm only limiting it to 10 people, and it expires on December the 15th. So if you need a gift and you're short on funds, then you know what, it's cdntechnologies.com/IT scams. And please don't think that you'll be able to catch a scam or that it'll never happen to you. There are so many cyber attacks happening right now. The pandemic quadrupled everything. The target for this year in cybercrime, the projected losses were going to hit $6 trillion. It's a lot of money. So please don't think that it would never happen to you, or that you can identify a scam and you can figure it out and that you're safe, because as soon as you start thinking about that, it's like Murphy's Law. So knock on wood, please be mindful of what you click. And there we go, CDN Technologies /IT scams to get your free book. Any questions, Kate? Anything come to mind?
No, just really informative. And, just this time of year, we just need to be a little bit more present in regards to this, because they know that we're vulnerable, we're busier, we're making more interactions online with our credit cards because we might be purchasing online, especially with a pandemic. So it's just really being more aware of what's going on and watching that. So thank you, Barb, because I do think that knowledge is power. And now that we can kind of give people this information, then they're the ones that are, like you said, their own hero.
Fabulous. Well, if anyone has any questions, give me a call, 905-542-9759. Thank you very much for having me. Kate, it's always wonderful and pleasurable to do these events with you. Love your organization. Love what you do.
Thank you, Barb. Really appreciate it. You have yourselves a really happy holiday to you and your
Oh,
family.
thank you. Merry Christmas, everyone. Peace and love. Bye.